Building up to game number 42 at the ICC Cricket World Cup 2019. This is Afghanistan versus the West Indies to be played at Headingley in Leeds. Not much to gain for both the sides, considering both are out of the running as far as the semi-finals are concerned. You're watching ESPN Cricinfo Match Day, but for Afghanistan in particular, they'd be looking forward to registering their first win of this particular edition of the World Cup. I'm in the company of Vettori, and Daren Ganga joins us live on the link. But Daren, I'll start with you. I know plenty of negativity around these two teams based on the performances that they've delivered, but let me start with a positive, and that would be both these teams, they had 3 encounters that they came so close to winning, heartbreak at the end. The positive is at least one of them will walk away as the winners in this game.
Yeah, it's not important in the course of the tournament, but it is important for these two teams because it leaves a lasting memory for all their fans around how the game was played. And if Afghanistan can get that win, obviously that'd be fantastic, and West Indies want to finish on a high. So I think you look at their teams and there's quality players mixed all the way through it. So they've had disappointing World Cups, but there are still some positives, and they go to Headingley on a wicket that suggests that it will turn. So it could be in the favour of Afghanistan with the nature of the makeup of their team. So look for both teams to be on for this game because it's so important for them.
Okay, let's quickly take a look at then the West Indies playing 11. We asked Daren to pick that 11. Has he made any changes to that squad? Well, it's one change, Daren, that I can see you've made. Shannon Gabriel goes out, Kemar Roach coming in. It's obviously based on the last game where Gabriel wasn't quite impressive.
Yeah, it's based on that, and it's based on the fitness of Kemar Roach. He was not available for that last game that they played. So I guess with his fitness, I think he had an illness. And once he's available, he should come back into the side. He's had a good impact with the ball. So that's the one change I envisage. This team is a team that is searching for a victory after that first game. It's the longest losing streak for the West Indies in a World Cup, so that is not a record they will want to have, and to finish with a win, I think that's the best thing that this team and the fans will want in this World Cup.
Okay, let's now take a look at then the Afghanistan playing 11. We asked Vettori to pick the 11 for Afghanistan, and he's made no changes to the team that played versus Pakistan. It was a very close encounter, but Dan, you might be forced to make a change if Hamid Hassan, who's still in your playing 11, he pulled a hamstring in the last game, bowled only 2 overs. So if he's not fit, you'd have to get another fast bowler.
Yeah, I think they're going to wait on his fitness and see how he goes because the Afghani team obviously relies on their 3 spinners in Majib, Nabi and Rashid Khan, and the seamers play more of a complementary role. And I think once again, looking at that Headingley wicket, it was the spinners that were so dominant. So they're going to put the onus of their bowling in there. They still want Hamid out there because he's an experienced player for them and played for Afghanistan for a while. So look, hopefully that he is fit, but it's all eyes on those spinners.
All right, they've got 2 options. Daulat Zadran is there. Syed Shirzad is the new fast bowler that they've got in their squad. 21 years of age, has played only 1 ODI up until now. Would Afghanistan want to give him an opportunity at the big stage? We'll have to wait and watch. Let's now turn our attention to the positives for the West Indies that we saw in the last game. Yes, they lost that particular match to Sri Lanka, but Nicholas Pooran emerged as the star. And if you were to take a look at the best averages then for West Indies in World Cups, he's already in an illustrious list there. The likes of Viv Richards, you could see Larry Gomes as well, Gus Logie in there, Nicholas Pooran with an average of 61.6. So, Darren, we're looking at positives. This was one of Nicholas Pooran. You reckon with the form that he showed, he has a very bright future ahead for the West Indies?
Yeah, and it's a little bit surprising that he wasn't invested in a bit earlier in West Indian cricket. Before this World Cup, he would have only played a handful of ODI matches, was pretty much confined to T20 internationals. In fact, he only played a lot of T20 cricket around the globe as a player and hasn't really played many first-class matches. So you think that they would look to him and his development as a player. What I like about his approach is he showed that he was able to adapt, he was able to build an innings, he was able to bat in the situation, which is something that we've not seen consistently from that West Indies batting lineup. They've been too one-dimensional in terms of approach. It's been a sort of T20 approach to 50-over cricket, which has not placed them in the best of positions in this World Cup. So I guess that balance is important for Nicholas Pooran himself. I think he's announced himself in international cricket with that century. A lot of people knew about his potential at the youth level, but he just never really got the opportunities to play. He made his debut against India in T20 internationals in 2018. So you would hope to see him consistently in West Indies teams in white ball cricket, and maybe if he can continue transitioning and adapting across formats, maybe in the test format, he can find himself with an opportunity.
Okay, interesting that you talk about West Indies' weakness being that of their batting, not really getting runs on the board, and that's exactly the problem with Afghanistan too, especially their opening partnership hasn't clicked, which is one of the main reasons why even their spinners who've been bowling rather well haven't really been able to defend a big total because the batsmen aren't getting it. Let's take a look at the Afghanistan openers then in this World Cup and how they've performed, and this is on top there, Gulbadin Naik, you've got Zazai there with an average of 19, so other than Rahmat Shah, who they've now sent as an opener. He was batting in the middle order to begin with, and Gulbadin Naik, again someone who wasn't opening to begin the tournament with. Last 4 matches he's opened for Afghanistan. I know he's getting a lot of flack, the Afghanistan skipper, many saying he wants to open the batting, he wants to open the bowling, bowl the last bowler, he wants to do everything, but to be fair to him, he's the one who's performing with the bat at any position.
Well, they've tried everyone, haven't they? They've gone around their whole squad. The one that I really like is Rahmat Shah. I've been impressed with him, and obviously he's a leg spinner as well, so he has those 2 skills to his bow. I think he's a guy that they can persevere with. He looks like he has a technique that can be effective there. The only thing for him is, can he be more positive at the top of the order? And maybe that's not the direction from the team management. They want to get through some overs, they want to soak up some balls early on in that power play, and then hopefully build a total. And this wicket might not allow that positivity, but someone like Rahmat Shah can get through those early stages of the West Indies fast bowlers and hopefully set it up for their middle order.
Interesting, we're talking about Rahmat Shah, the spin bowler, when Afghanistan already has some 3 good spin bowlers there, and we'll talk about one in Mujib, who's really had a resurgence of sort at this World Cup. Now you see his performance at the beginning of the tournament versus the last 3 innings, and you could see the difference there is stark. Look at that average there from 108 to 16. He's picked up 6 wickets in the last 3 innings. The first 3 only picked up 1. What has really changed for Mujib from what you saw him at the start of the tournament to now?
Well, I think the thing he loves doing is bowling with the new ball, and he hasn't done that consistently. I think in the last game you saw him at his most effective on a wicket that had a little bit in it, and he can use all his variations, and those variations are aided by the new ball, because when he flicks it out the front he can swing it a little bit, it grips a little bit more with that new ball, so he's really comfortable in that role, and I think Afghanistan will look for him to do that again, especially against Gale. I think that'll be a big matchup early on, the left-hander. A lot of teams use off-spin against Gale early on, but Mujib, with his accuracy, his skill, his ability to spin it and almost swing, drift it, will make him a formidable opposition for Gale in that situation.
All right, talking about bowling with the new ball, Dan talks about Mujib really enjoying bowling with the new ball. We'll take a look at the West Indies now. And bowling with the new ball, there's one man who's been picking up a lot of wicket, that is Cottrell there. He is in fact most wickets in overs 1 to 10 in Cricket World Cup. He's right on top, having picked 7 wickets. Darren, I want your thoughts on this. I mean, Cottrell, the only one picking up those wickets for West Indies. I know, Andre Russell was a big miss for them, but someone like O'Shane Thomas, probably more was expected out of the other new ball bowlers?
Yeah, I think so. I think when you look at what Cottrell has achieved as a bowler in terms of wickets, in terms of his penetration in power play 1 and in his spells, you expect that the other bowlers will take cue. Well, they've not done it consistently. Majority of Cottrell's wicket coming with deliveries which were pitched up, in a good length or in a full yank. His Yorkers quite effective. Also, sometimes in conditions that favor swing, he was able to swing the ball, and that is why he's been so effective as a bowler. His intensity, absolutely brilliant. He's playing, with the type of intensity you would expect at a World Cup. But it's just a little bit of disappointment with the likes of O'Shane Thomas, who's not found that length consistently, that good length. He's been too much on the short side, although he has pace. Even Shannon Gabriel, you expect that with his performance in Test match cricket in the year 2018, he would be able to consistently bowl in the good areas. He hasn't been able to do that, and that has been the problem which has plagued this West Indian bowling as a unit.
All right, final thoughts, Dan. Just looking at Afghanistan, last year they were playing the World Cup qualifiers and Afghanistan beat West Indies twice. Can they now do it 3 in a row?
I think I've picked them. I think I've picked them on the back of it being at Headingley and the fact that they've had some experience, and they ran Pakistan very close in that game. And we always talk about those 3 spinners, and I think they're going to be even more important if Afghanistan can get up against this. Both teams have a lot to play for, but I think it could be Afghanistan's day.
All right, finally, Daren, I won't ask you for your prediction. I'll just ask you, will Chris Gayle keep the entire Caribbean awake to watch this game? Because this is going to be his last knock, I'm guessing. He said he'll play against India, but in ICC tournaments, this is going to be his last knock. So can the fans expect a special one from him?
Well, he's flattered to deceive in this World Cup. Only a couple half centuries, Chris Gayle, when you expected some explosion from the big man who's got all the experience in the book. He had a very good series against England in the Caribbean, but he's not really delivered consistently with the bat, and something which has affected this West Indian batting lineup. It's been the middle order and lower order. 2 centuries in this World Cup so far for the West Indies, Brathwaite and Pooran. Somebody from the top has to score a century. Maybe Chris Gayle, maybe Shea Hope. That will be the icing on the cake for either of these players, because quite frankly, they've not produced as expected. So ideal opportunity to finish on a high. This is the last World Cup that Chris Gayle will play, and I'm sure he would want to bow out on a very high note.
All right, Daren, Ganga, Daniel Vettori, thanks so much for your analysis. That was building up to game number 42 between West Indies and Afghanistan. Remember, it's going to be played at Headingley in Leeds, and the pitch is expected to be 2-paced, which means the Afghanistan spinners will come into play. Thanks so much for joining us.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave your comments in the comment section below. Click on the bell icon for notifications.